Hello everybody and welcome back to NCAA 2004 in the Alabama Crimson Tide Dynasty mode, but we are highlighting the Vanderbilt Commodores schedule this season, which includes a pretty tough, brutal run against number 5 Virginia Tech and number 21 Central Michigan, who had themselves quite the year this year, okay? Don't knock them, all right? And then a bad loss to Mississippi State as well as NC State, and then a 1-point loss to a bad Florida team. So this Vanderbilt team could have really been something special this season had they won a couple of those close games and against teams that, they probably should have won games against, most certainly. And then Texas, of course, handles business against the Jayhawks in the Big 12 Championship, which means that all we need to do is pretty much just win, and we'll be in the BCS National Title game. Again, as I mentioned in the last video, I'm still not entirely sure if Texas winning the Big 12 even really helps their case. I think the computer has firmly stated that the pecking order is the Buckeyes, us, and the Fighting Irish. So even if we lose, I don't think Texas will hop us, despite having the extra game and the Big 12 championship. I don't think it'll help them, unfortunately, as unfair as that is. But that's why the system changed. That's why we have a playoff now, is so things like this could not happen. But we are heading into, I believe, our third matchup overall against the Commodores in this series, and we have, we're of course undefeated against Vanderbilt. The first time was a little bit competitive. It stayed really competitive down the stretch, and then we kind of pulled away towards the end of the game due to some mistakes on either side. And then in the most recent matchup against them, I think in year 11, which in real life years, I don't know what that was, I can't remember exactly where we're at in this game, 2016 or 17 at this point, I can't remember. But either way, in year 11, we met them in the SEC Championship game, and we absolutely thrashed them. We throttled them, and our defense completely smothered the Commodores' offense, which at that time was still pretty impressive. And heading into this game, it's a lot less impressive than that team was, but, there's still some decent pieces on this team that we'll have to pay some respect to here. They have a good quarterback and running back situation. The receiving core is a little bit lower. Their tight end's really bad. So those are the things to look out for against this Vanderbilt team here. But we obviously just need to handle business here in Atlanta once again like we normally do. And already with some trickery here, and it's just going to go completely awry and head the other way, as Damian Brock, the senior quarterback for Vanderbilt, tries to do some fancy footwork here, break out of the option play and find a man downfield, and it just completely ends up in a Crimson Tide defender's hands. So we don't do anything with it, though. Vanderbilt's back on the attack on offense, and Brock is serving up even more goodies to our defense as an errant pass kind of just ends up in the ankles, really. I mean, it really just ends up in the ankles of, and I'm trying to pull up my roster sheet and see if we can get of Doug Berry. It falls into the ankles of Doug Berry, who just kind of has to reach down and snag it from the turf, and he does just that. So great athletic play here. And now we're giving it to Sharp, who's in a short yardage situation. Normally, you see this kind of thing happen towards the goal line. Sharp has picked up 6 touchdowns this season doing that. He doesn't have a ton of yardage, though, but hey, there's a nice pickup to get us a first down and well into Vanderbilt territory, so we'll take that. But it's another 3rd and 4 here against Vanderbilt's defense. And now Bowen stuck in the offensive line here, trying to surge through the C gap and find a little bit of opening, and he can't quite do it as Vanderbilt's defensive line just kind of contests a lot of blocks at the line of scrimmage, and we're empty-handed here. So 4th and 1, Sick Navy keeping the boys on the field here in no man's land. And now we have Khaled Lumpkin. That's the other big thing I didn't mention at the beginning of this video. Khaled Lumpkin is starting at quarterback in this game, and he sends one to Chip Milligan in the end zone, who has it in his hands, but on the contact, he cannot hold on to the ball. So that's going to be a turnover on downs, and the score will remain at a fat goose egg late in this first quarter. But now Vanderbilt's going to try and break the seal here as it's a handoff to Matt Powell, the running back, and he breaks a couple tackles, and he's off to the races in the end zone for the first score in this game. And so Vanderbilt's going to strike first, and they're going to strike, well, not really early. It's late in the quarter now, but it's early enough in this game. And Powell, again, is one of the good pieces that Vanderbilt has here, that he's over 1,300 yards on the season with 10 touchdowns. It's now touchdown 11. And last year, he didn't have nearly as many yards. He had half as many yards as he does this year, but he still had 10 touchdowns last year. So that's 20 touchdowns, career touchdowns, in just the last 2 seasons. And he has played in the seasons outside of that. So Vanderbilt's had pretty good running backs. Remember the last time we played Vanderbilt, they had like a Heisman caliber running back on their team as well. But now Brock is finally getting things going through the air with the passing game as he finds Kevin Hobbs, a junior receiver who hasn't really had much of the season, only like 100 or so yards on the year, but a big pickup for him is going to get Vanderbilt inside the red zone. And now Brock wasting no time to find another open target in the end zone to score once again. And so Vanderbilt showing quite a bit of fire now here towards the end of the first quarter, heading into the second quarter. Vanderbilt is certainly showing a little bit of teeth and a little bit of fangs, and just like that, we were down 14-0. So we got to pick up the pace here. Now Cal Lumpkin drops one into the breadbasket, and as he is able to find an open receiver, that's Evan Jacobs. If you remember Evan Jacobs, he was a kind of a nice stand-up freshman from last season, but he hasn't really done a whole lot here. He's kind of receiver 4 in the depth chart. We don't see him too often, but nice reception from him. And now Cal Lumpkin on the run's got to find somebody, and that's when you get errant passes like that, and that pass is going to be intercepted heading the other way. And so if you're curious why Cal Lumpkin is starting, I started him in the last few weeks of the season just to see how he would do, and it was against bad teams, but he had over 1,700 yards and had a 14-5 touchdown to INT ratio. So that's exactly why Cal Lumpkin is starting in this game, and when you have somebody like Damian Brock on the other side of things throwing as many interceptions as he has, you can give up one, but hopefully, the turnover battle doesn't become the story of this game here. So now Cal Lumpkin leading the boys the other way here, sends a shot down the seam towards the end zone, and that pass is caught for another Crimson Tide touchdown. I guess, the first one, as we finally strike back against Vanderbilt, as Cal Lumpkin is able to connect with Lou Newsome down the seam. A nice, beautiful pass here. Just find that opening. A dangerous pass to throw, but Lou Newsome was able to climb the ladder and get to it. So now we finally at least answer back to Vanderbilt, but they're on the attack once again across midfield. And now Brock, under some pressure, gets rid of it in time, and that pass is going to be made right at about the line to gain, but it looks like he's probably going to be a yard or a few inches short, but he definitely was right there. So 4th and inches, Vanderbilt keeping the offense on the field, of course. It's only inches to go. They're going to hand it off, and Powell's not going to get there. Powell is not going to get there, as we had some penetration early. We sent the kitchen sink. We were able to get to Powell and not allow him to get back to the line of scrimmage. So that's going to be a turnover on downs. And now we're heading the other way with just a little over 2 minutes left in the first half. So Lumpkin back to pass, steps up in the pocket, unloads one downfield, and he finds Medley, a new standout freshman this season here. Ben Medley's had himself quite the season, over 760 yards now, and that is his 6th touchdown of the year. So Chip Milligan, that kind of production that we got from Milligan last year, kind of just went to Medley this year. So that's kind of how we've reshuffled our receiver deck, and that's what we got to do with the receiving talent where we have it right now, because it's still really not all that great. So we're still only, our highest receiver is like an 84, so still not all that impressive, but we finally tie things up here with Vanderbilt late in the first half, but the Commodores will not be silenced for long as Brock is able to get, again, man, he has just completely been hitting Kevin Hobbs a lot. He's been hitting Kevin Hobbs a lot in this game, and again, I can't stress enough how he's like the lowest on this Vanderbilt totem pole in terms of receiving. Like, he has done nothing this year for the Commodores offense, but I guess, that's where they got to go now, given all the pressure that we've put everywhere else. And so Dante Burrow finally gets a catch in this game. That's Vanderbilt's tight end as Brock connects with him, and now Brock going to try and run the option play, and there's absolutely nowhere to go, as they maybe thought everyone was going to be crowding the box, but no, man, we had guys on the outside waiting for him. So Vanderbilt running with some tempo here as time is ticking away, under 20 seconds. Brock on the very next play here, and Barry got up there. He definitely climbed the ladder and got a hand up there, but could not break up that pass to Burrow, and so Brock's pass is completed in the end zone, and Vanderbilt will take a late lead here in the first half as they strike one more time before the clock hits triple zeros in the second quarter, giving them a 21-14 lead in the SEC championship. So a tough uphill battle that we're in right now. We've been in those in the last couple of conference championships that we've played. We've been in some very wacky uphill battles, but speaking of wacky here, odd situation where Brock gets absolutely plastered, man. Gets absolutely pasted in the backfield, and the ball just spits out like a cartoon, and we managed to fall on top of it. So, but we don't do anything with the football, so Vanderbilt's back on the attack once again following a punt, and then we're going to hand this one off, or they're going to hand this one off to the fullback, and that is another fumble for Vanderbilt, and they have racked up 5 turnovers as Mike Davenport, the fullback for Vanderbilt, coughs up the football here. And he's had a decent season, too, for a fullback. So Vanderbilt's getting really just kind of falling short here. Falling short. So, and the linebacker, was that a linebacker who dove in there? Did you see that? Tried to get to Marquise Bowen. I don't know why he wouldn't just stand on his feet. He had a better shot. I don't know. Either way, it's a first down, so we're going to continue moving in the red zone. Lumpkin going to go with the option here. Going to give it off to Bowen, who spin move to get inside, and that's going to get him inside the 5. So a play that could have absolutely went negative yardage turns into a pretty huge plus play for Marquise Bowen, thanks to the heads-up spin move from our athletic running back. And then on the next play, Cal Lumpkin's going to walk it in himself and get himself a rushing touchdown, and now we are going to tie things up with Vanderbilt once again. So the turnovers are really keeping us in this ball game with the Commodores right now, which is kind of unsettling since they have 5 of them, and it's still just a tie game at 21 apiece. That is very, very unsettling. So Brock here with a deep shot downfield, and that pass is going to be completed. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, man. That is absolutely crazy. And judging by the receiving numbers, yeah, okay, the number. That's Kellen McLeod, Vanderbilt's top receiver here. Both of their top receivers have had pretty similar years, about 700, 800 yards and 7 or 8 touchdowns. So very similar seasons for both of them. As now another pass is completed in the end zone for another Vanderbilt touchdown. And their offense is moving, man. Their offense is certainly moving. They're finding a way to work around the limitations maybe, or the scheme that we've run on defense. And look at that, under pressure, Brock just standing firm in that pocket and just releasing an accurate pass, and that's good, man. That's good. Despite the struggles that Brock has had in this game right now, he is keeping us in this game, but he clearly possesses the weapons here to really pull away. So speaking of pulling away here, is we have a huge run play, or not run play, but a huge pass. Oh my goodness, it's a fumble on the ground, and I think Medley's able to pick up his own fumble. So Ben Medley here, a huge play along the sideline, a huge gain, did not have the speed to break free, and he fumbles the football and recovers his own fumble despite being surrounded by Commodores. I have no idea how Vanderbilt did not land on top of that, but the third quarter will end that way with those theatrics. Now in the fourth quarter, we have ourselves quite the nail-biter in this game, and Chip Milligan with an athletic play diving for the end zone after making the catch at the line to gain here. He cuts up field with a very, very athletic heads-up play and gets into the end zone, and that will tie things up here once again in Atlanta, as Cal Lumpkin able to get these boys moving. So this is the big difference here, of course, because we didn't really see a lot of that movement from our previous quarterbacks. Dre Gates and Ernest Slaughter both kind of struggled to consistently keep our offense moving, and Cal Lumpkin has certainly been able to do that in a lot of areas and a lot of places in this game. We've, of course, had our struggles in this game, but we're keeping up with the Vanderbilt offense that right now has a ton of chemistry and a ton of momentum building right now. You see Damian Brock's got 10 in consecutive completions, and the running game is also not being stopped outside of fumbles. So if they can limit their fumbles, man, this is dangerous. As Davenport picks up another first down, a short yardage first down for the Commodores, and now the Vanderbilt offense will continue just outside of the red zone here, or getting close to 3 minutes left in this game. And Brock back to pass again, takes a shot towards the sideline. That pass is completed, and there was a whole bunch of pressure on that end or on that side surrounding that receiver, but still able to haul that one in, man. Vanderbilt is really figuring things out. Direct snap to Powell. He's going to try and get into the end zone, but he's going to be brought down just shy of it. Very, very close play, a dangerous play, a scary, scary play. But that's how 3rd and goal ends. So bring out the special teams unit on 4th and goal. Vanderbilt able to kill the clock under 2 minutes. So now we're getting into some dangerous territory. But 31-28, if we can score, man, if we can score a touchdown, we can take the lead here. So we have the keys right now. If we can manage to kill off as much time as possible, we've gotten it down to 42 seconds, driven across midfield on a 3rd and 2, and Lumpkin floats this one up, and that pass is going to be completed to Newsom, which is exactly what we needed. So we could kill the remainder of the game here, take the field goal and go to overtime, or we can keep things aggressive, keep our foot on the gas, and try and get into the end zone and leave Vanderbilt no chance. So with the fake spike here, Lumpkin's just going to throw for it, and he finds an open target in the end zone. It's a touchdown for the Crimson Tide. Just 29 seconds left to go in this game, and we've retaken the lead once again. It's going to be a 4-point lead pending the extra point, and so Vanderbilt will not be able to just kick a field goal and keep things competitive once again. They're going to have to get into the end zone with just 29 seconds as Lou Newsom gets his huge, massive, 13th touchdown of the season. Amazing. So with just 15 seconds left to go, Vanderbilt is driving slowly but surely, and a huge completion is made to Skip McLevy. McLevy. It's like a weird spelling. It's weird. But Vanderbilt getting up to the line of scrimmage now, running up some tempo. Only 9 seconds left to go, and they're letting the time tick away here. Can't seem to communicate at the line what the play is, and they're going to have to blow a timeout with 4 seconds left. So I don't know if they had 2 plays in them. Maybe if they had an incompletion, which wouldn't have helped. But now it's really the last play here. So down to the last opportunity, 4 seconds. Brock back to pass here. Pressure's coming on. He runs up in the pocket, evading pressure, throws it to the end zone. It's going to be caught for a touchdown, and the clock is at 000. But Vanderbilt has a caught football in the end zone, and that is going to be the go-ahead score. That's going to be the winning score. Vanderbilt scores in the winning touchdown, or the winning play, the very last play. I'm choking on my words. Vanderbilt scores in the last play of the game as the Commodores. Damian Brock manages to find an open target, and that is going to be it, man. That's going to be our season. That's our season. We lose another SEC championship in crushing fashion, the final play of the game. And Vanderbilt's going to win with a 6-2 conference record, man. We went perfect. We were 8-0. no! Oh my goodness, Vanderbilt manages to pull off the impossible and upset the number 1 ranked or number 2 ranked Alabama Crimson Tide in Atlanta. So again, remember guys, this is not the first time this has happened. We've suffered a crushing defeat like this in the SEC Championship before. And, you know, we'll talk about that in a second, I guess. I mean, because I want to look at these stats, too, man. Vanderbilt completely outplayed us, guys. Completely outplayed us. And even the pressure that we've been able to get on the quarterback, we're not able to do it, man. Brock was really, really able to move around in that pocket and maneuver. You saw in that very last play, he was running from pressure and was able to deliver an accurate pass on the run, even with 5 turnovers. That's the biggest thing. And I said a couple seconds ago, or a few minutes ago, I didn't want the turnover battle to end up being the thing of this game, and it ended up being that. It ended up being that. And Cal Lumpkin really did not have a great game. He moved us. 4 touchdowns is huge, but completion percentage is way down. He did have the interception, so, you know, not great here, of course. Ben Medley had a great game, but unfortunately, yeah, we do lose the SEC Championship. And again, that's not the first time. South Carolina did it to us either last year or the year before, and that's becoming a trend here where the last game of the season that we're losing, or the only loss on the season, comes in the SEC Championship. So that's 2 national championships we potentially missed out on by losing in the SEC Championship. So brutal, man. Brutal, brutal, brutal. We do get a Thorpe Award winner, which is cool, though. I just want to point that out. We haven't had a lot of player awards in this dynasty. Typically, in all my other dynasties in this game, I always rack up a ton of them. But in this one, for some reason, we have not had a lot of them. We have not had a lot. We have a Heisman, though, which is cool. But yeah, that's how our season's going to, not really come to an end, because we still have the Capital One Bowl to have to play the runner-up of the Big Ten, which is Indiana this year at 8-4. We'll be meeting the Hoosiers once again. And there, as you see, as I mentioned, Notre Dame takes our place in the BCS National title, which is an all-timer, man. So we're going to get a rematch of this most previous season national championship, Ohio State, Notre Dame. We're going to get it in the Orange Bowl to see who's going to be crowned the champion as Ohio State looks to grab another one. I think they're second consecutive, so the Buckeyes are on an absolute tear right now. I don't even know if we could beat Ohio State right now, but in our next video, man, we are going to be covering the Hoosiers and taking on the Hoosiers in the Capital One Bowl. So hopefully we can grab another bowl victory, and hope to see you all there when we play Indiana.